The first thing Arthur noticed was how unnaturally quiet the village of Ashburn had become as he guided the dusty sedan through the winding cobblestone streets. Flickering lamplights bordered the road like watchful sentinels, barely illuminating the gathering evening mist that clung to the air, muffling every sound. The village was known for its stone cottages, eccentric history, and its annual autumn festival. However, this year, something felt unshakably different. His journey here was initially intended to be a brief research trip. As an aspiring author with a penchant for local folklore, Arthur found himself drawn to legends and ghost stories like moths to a flame. Ashburn promised just that, heralded as a place where the old-world charm danced hand-in-hand with whispers of the paranormal, tales of shadowy figures and elusive specters that reappeared with the falling leaves. Checking into the solitary inn on the outskirts, Arthur was greeted by Mabel, the innkeeper, a woman of advancing age with eyes as dark and fervent as an incoming storm. She handed him a key with numbered brass, her fingers lingering just a moment too long in the handoff. Her voice, a low croak, ventured a question with a cautionary air. "You here for the stories, or for the truth?" Without waiting for an answer, she retreated into the dimly lit corridor behind the front desk, casting flickering shadows that danced and then were swallowed by the darkness. Arthur felt a shiver before understanding why he was uneasy. It was the unsaid. It was that sliver of something hidden within her words. Outside, the mist deepened, wrapping the village in its cold embrace. Arthur decided to explore the narrow byways surrounding the inn, where the cobblestones were slick with dew and ink-like shadows stretched across walls like skeletal fingers. The village was eerily void of people, yet footsteps seemed to echo softly alongside his own. He stopped once or twice, turning abruptly, only to find himself gazing into the shadows, empty, save for the rustling of unseen creatures. By the time Arthur returned to the inn, night had fully claimed the sky, and pinpricks of stars blinked through thick clouds. He tossed and turned in bed, the echo of the villagers' absence pressing on him with invisible weight. Sleep was a sparingly granted visitor, as unsettling dreams plagued him at every turn, a restless night of silent screams and faceless whispers. The following day, Arthur made his way to the small village library, intent on finding something that could inspire his writing. The library, embedded within a relic of a stone chapel, was supervised by a bespectacled man whose presence was as cryptic as the forgotten texts lining the shelves. As Arthur picked through the volumes, he stumbled across a local history tome that was heavily annotated with personal notes. Notes detailing sightings and vanishings associated with the Veil Night, a phenomenon that purportedly descended upon Ashbourne once every 21 years. Intrigued, Arthur pried further, piecing together the cryptic accounts. The Veil Night was marked by an inexplicable thinning between worlds, where time itself was suspect, and ghostly apparitions bridged pasts into the present seeking something. Employment of the mind led Arthur to somewhere he hadn't expected, a connection to the unaccounted disappearances of villagers during such nights, much like the eerily quiet Ashbourne at this present moment. Throughout the day, whispers of more than wind nipped at his senses. Doors edged open, beckoning, and then closed with no intervention. Shadows lengthened inexplicably beneath an unwavering sun. Each passing second unraveled slowly, heightening his awareness that he was not alone. Arthur ventured further from the library into the bowels of the village, towards the edge of the woods that flanked one side of Ashburn. Here lay the remnants of the old festival grounds, overgrown with weeds yet not forgotten. Ushid legends spoke of altars and rituals, vestiges of old gods and forgotten rites meant to safeguard the town during the Veil Night. As he explored, he felt an oppressive sense of dread, a rigged air of anticipation, as if time itself held its breath, fearing what may accidentally slip through its grasp. Once again, night fell, but this time the unease was palpable. Despite a logical dismissal of superstition, Arthur could not ignore the rising sentiment of something deeply, profoundly wrong. As he returned to his room, he noticed something had changed, small yet profound. The air within his space was stale, carrying a fragrance of smoke and aged dust, although no fire had been kindled. And then he saw it. A shadow not his own, creeping along the wall with a mind independent of him, bending and kneeling, as if greeting an invisible guest. His body betrayed him with shivers as he approached cautiously, finely attuned to every creak of floorboard, every exhalation of the building. His cautious exploration led him to the chapel once more, empty at this ungodly hour, save for himself and, it seemed, the things that stirred from elsewhere. Straining in the bare lamplight, Arthur saw etchings along the stone walls he'd missed before. Names claimed by the Veil, written in half-faded charcoal alongside cryptic runes shimmering, if only glanced upon indirectly. As he stood transfixed, an overwhelming sensation overtook him, of being pulled through something incomprehensible and unseen. Time flickered around him, a lamp fluttering in a breeze, where he could almost perceive the world that lay just out of sight. Barely tangible faces, voices just out of hearing, a presence, so cold yet so demanding. And then it whispered to him, from behind, in an unrecognizable voice that felt wholly unfamiliar. "Join us. See what you have only imagined." Instinct propelled Arthur away, back towards the streets, running to the inn with reckless abandon as clouds coalesced above, swirling ominously. The village seemed alive, yet dead, the lure of madness behind every corner dragging him deeper. Reaching the inn, the front door slammed shut by no mortal intervention. He found himself trapped, encapsulated in this realm between reality and myth. Hearing a rustling noise, Arthur glanced toward the inn's parlor lobby, where a portrait hanging askew caught his eye, a sobering mirror of the past. There within the frame stood a striking image of the village, a snapshot of nobility and humility, with clarity so vivid it felt recently taken. His heart seized as he realized the image captured not just faces, but an unreachable truth. There he was, amidst the crowd. Shock cascaded over him, and the world reeled. The Veil was his truth now, inescapable, infinite in its reach. At that moment, the shadows overtook their lurking, a swift claiming of what the night demanded. Was it real, was it not? The blurring coalesced, and Arthur understood that his reality had been absorbed, another lost echo ringing faint behind the facade of normalcy.